Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we are going to be jumping down into the world of Terra Luna. Some interesting things, some alarming things, and just general update on what is going on here with Terra Luna. So as I get into this, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you'll be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Now, if you have not yet joined us in Discord, links in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out? Okay, with all that said, done out of the way, let's bring up the desktop, and obviously we'll just take a look at the state of play. I think there was some progress over the weekend for the price action of Luna, but it is minor. I mean, in reflection to everything else. If we actually go ahead and just take this low point, this high point, we did move up about 125%. So some pretty good gains are being made by people who are actively trading on Luna. But again, it comes as high risk, obviously, and of course the other thing to bear in mind is it is going to act and behave a little bit more like other meme coins now, so just be aware of that. Okay, so why am I doing this video? Well, there's a couple of things that have come up that I thought are worth talking about. So the first one, if you remember a little while back, there was a guy who was basically banging on the door of Terra Luna. I think this is pretty much happening just after the actual initial kind of crash, and it's actually the front door of his personal residence, right? So basically I was arrested for knocking on Luna door's boss's door. Sorry if I can get my words out there. Luna boss's door. So essentially this guy, he's been invested in cryptocurrency since 2017. He has a YouTube channel apparently, and he had about $2.4 million worth of cryptocurrency that was basically wiped out, is what he was saying. And it also goes on to kind of complain how he was in 1%, he was in the top 1% in terms of his finances within Korea, and now obviously he's no longer there, and he's in a bit of hot water about it. He invested $800,000 of his money in Terra Luna at the worst possible time, apparently. So maybe that's something to consider. But there you go. So it goes on to kind of talk about everything that was kind of going on there, and he says here he surrendered himself. So he was disappointed that Mr. Kwon's wife answered the door and she said her husband was out. The worst was to come as the police were alerted and he was arrested. Local media captured the moment he arrived at the police station for questioning, etc., etc., etc. So, I think it's an interesting kind of piece. I mean, I'm surprised he's the only one to have gone knocking on the door. I mean, you don't lose billions of dollars of other people's money and, expect not to. And I know he did also potentially request, I think, to have some kind of police protection as well after this event. So interesting stuff. I would say that, it happens to a lot of people, right? He won't be the only YouTuber who's lost out significantly based on his Luna investments. And again, it just shows you that even if you are looking at this stuff every single day, some things you're just going to miss out on. But this does bring me over to the next piece, which is interesting, which is this one. This came out yesterday. And it's interesting. What's really interesting about this, I was doing the rounds in our Discord, on our Twitter. But what's really interesting is a lot of this stuff now, in reflection, right, looking back at it, you would say, okay, well, here's some serious learnings to be made, right, from a retail investor perspective. It's going to be that, okay, all of these potential things, are they positive or are they negative? And, when people, specifically Kwon is laughing about, the death of other companies, which I think was actually mentioned at the bottom of this article briefly, companies die, and all that kind of stuff. So, when you're laughing and joking about now how 95% of other cryptocurrency companies are going to die and it's going to be great to watch and all that kind of stuff, there's a little bit of irony in there when this happens to your protocol, right? But nonetheless, we're going to talk about this. And this is all about, was Kwon involved in Terra's destruction? An old video has disclosed he had a kill switch for the network. And this is really interesting. And it's interesting for multiple different reasons, because a kill switch, as described in the video, which I'm going to play to you in a second, is vastly different to what happened. So it tells me that that switch wasn't flicked, or alternatively, there is no such kill switch, right? So let's get your views on this, right? So let's go ahead and just play this for you.
We have sort of a something called a protocol Armageddon at the company. So what protocol Armageddon is that's a kill switch. So whenever we feel like we're no longer in a position to be able to best serve the community, we pull the trigger and 24 hours we're gone. We burn all of our assets, we cut all of our ties, and it's nothing. So that's just in case where things move a little bit faster than we're anticipating.
So there's a couple of things with that. So the first, obviously, is he's saying that there's a kill switch, and they can basically pull the trigger and they can disappear from the project, cutting all ties. And it happens when things move faster than expected. So I hypothesize that that switch was never pulled. And I'm saying this because if that were the case, then surely he would have absolutely zero involvement now. He would have cut all ties and sold all assets, which, to be fair, they've only got 300 Bitcoin left, right? So at least supposedly, so possibly they did pull that switch, but I don't think they necessarily did if such a switch exists. So there's two things here. One, okay, considering the complete crash of Terra LUNA, was that not an Armageddon situation for a kill switch to be pushed, right? To flick that lever and cut your ties and run away as fast as you can. It's not your problem anymore, right? Because that's essentially what he's talking about here. Alternatively, it wasn't bad enough for you to pull that switch. Okay, or it was bad enough to pull that switch. So which one was it, right? Was this an Armageddon event, considering billions of dollars have disappeared, wiped out, you had millions of investors completely wrecked, okay? Was this switch flicked? Super interested to know if anyone knows the answer to this. Let me know in the comments below. I have hypothesized that no, but otherwise, why would he still be trying to put proposals together to fix the issue? So then, of course, that then gives me the second part to this question. Does the switch even exist? And is this not actually accurate information inside this video that he's talking about? And the reason for this would be that simply billions of dollars being wiped out should be considered an Armageddon event for Terra LUNA's ecosystem, right? So therefore, if such a switch exists, you should push it. And if it wasn't pushed, then why wasn't it pushed? And therefore, I just pull into question the existence of such a kill switch. So I found this really interesting, and I don't have an answer to it. But obviously there's a lot of things circulating around now, right? We obviously have lots of things going on in the space, specifically around old videos of Kwon, things he has said, his body language, his behavior on some interviews, whether he's talking about, 95% of cryptocurrencies going bust, and how fun that is going to be to watch these companies just get destroyed and just become nothing, and obviously the irony that comes with that. But more important with that particular interview is his body language. He was almost like he knew something wasn't quite right at the point of doing that recording, because his body language indicated that it's fun to watch, and he was looking away. He wasn't looking directly at the camera. His body language was shutting down and trying to distance himself from the interviewer itself. So I find it quite interesting when you start to really break down and analyze people's behavior in some of these interviews. Now, this particular one is quite open and quite honest. This tells me that such a switch does exist personally, but I don't think it's necessarily been pushed. And if it hasn't been pushed, why? Considering I would have called this an Armageddon-like event, that would have or has basically destroyed the Terra LUNA ecosystem. So interesting kind of stuff. Maybe it did exist, maybe it no longer exists. I don't know, but do let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. All of this is really interesting as we continue to kind of piece things together here. And obviously, I don't know whether or not anything has come of the gentleman who essentially was arrested, whether or not charges are being pressed or whatever. I mean, ultimately he knocked on a door. I don't think that's a crime. But then again, you don't know what his intentions were after losing a significant amount of money. But guys, I'm going to leave the video there. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, and drop any links as well into the comments below. as to whether or not you know more about, this kill switch situation, his body language, whether this is a Ponzi scheme set up from the very beginning, the coincidences that are also circling the dissolved company over in Korea, the one that hasn't necessarily got the licensing over in Singapore, all the way through to whether or not this guy has had charges pressed against him. It'd be really interesting to keep an eye on the story. If you found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Join us in Discord, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.